So we're going to start with the basic anatomy of your knitting. You're going to start with your left needle, which is the needle that will hold your stitches, and your right needle, which is going to be working your stitches. So the left needle stays basically still, and the right needle is going to be doing most of the work. You have your yarn. We're going to be showing your live stitches in red, which are the stitches that are on your left needle that you are working with your right. Then you will have the blue, which is the working yarn, which is the yarn you're feeding into the loops on the left needle to create a new loop. So first we're going to start with the top view. This is an overly simplified top view of the left and right needle. You have your live stitch with the working yarn coming off of the live stitch. So, and then this is an oversimplified side view. You have your left, I highlighted the stitch that you're working in red with the blue working yarn. So the working yarn is what you're going to be wrapping around to make that loop. So now we're going to talk about how we're going to get into this position. So from the top view, we're going to watch and you're going to see that your needle's going to rotate around a little bit. It's going to pick up underneath your working yarn. It needs to be in front of your working yarn, and you're going to pull it in and pull that singular stitch across both needles. Now we can see the oversimplified top view of that. Now we're going to watch the side. So from the side, you see that your needle goes down below. It goes in, your right needle goes in front of the left stitch, and then it goes in through the bottom of the stitch. That's really important. It has to go through the bottom, not the top. You go through, and then you push up. So that's going to get you this first position that we showed in the beginning. So now we're at this stage. We can see the simplified side view, where you have the working yarn coming out behind it. That's very important. The working yarn needs to be behind, and the same for the top, the oversimplified top view. Now we're going to talk about how we're going to get into the second position, which has the yarn sitting between the two needles. It's fairly simple, but let's talk about it. So now you can see we're back in the first position that you see here. Now this is the simplified position, and you're going to see you're going to bring your working up counterclockwise around your working right needle, and then you're going to just stick it between the two needles. Super simple. Now let's see that from the side. You can see that the working yarn is actually below the stitch, so you're going to bring it behind that right working needle, in between the needles, and pull it tight. I'm going to show you in, in the natural position, because these are oversimplified positions where I'm pulling the needles apart sideways, but this is how it's going to look when you're actually knitting. So first you'll notice that you insert your needle from the front, in front of the working yarn, but then you push the needle back behind the other needle, which results in the working yarn kind of resting on the back of your right working needle. You're going to grab that yarn. You are going to pull it back around, counterclockwise around your right needle. Bring it back all the way counterclockwise from 12 to 12 o'clock, and then pull it between the two needles. Okay, now we're going to talk about how to get to the next position, which is the third position, has the needle down, pushing down the working yarn. So we're going to look at that in the natural tone. You can see how as you're straightening your needle to the side, then your needle will go below the working stitch and push through. So let's watch that in a natural position. Push down and then push through. Let's watch it again. You push down, you push through. You're turning your needle sideways, pushing down, pushing through. Let's watch that in the top view. Turning the needle sideways, pushing the yarn down, pushing through. Turning the needle sideways, pushing down, pushing through. Now let's watch it again. Pushing down, pushing through. Now let's go through it all again. All right, let's take it from the top now. You're going to see we're going to be having your two separate needles. That's position 1. On top of the left needle, you insert the right needle on the bottom of the stitch up to find your first position. For second position, you wrap the yarn counterclockwise back and then in between your two needles and pull tight. To get to the third position, you turn your needle sideways and push the working yarn below the live stitch, and then push your needle through to measure your yarn. This will ensure your yarn is the size of the barrel of your needle, not the tip of your needle, so you have loose enough stitches. And then the final step is simply to push off the live stitch, and now your new live stitch is on your right needle as opposed to your left needle, and you're ready to keep knitting. To keep knitting, the stitch that you just knit that's now on the right needle, you want to make sure it's oriented down. The working yarn is on the back of that stitch, on the back of the needle. The other yarn will be connected to the other stitches still on your left stitch. And the next stitch down on your left needle now becomes the live stitch, whereas the loop and the front side of the stitch on your right needle is now dormant until you flip your knitting to keep going. I hope this helps. Happy knitting!